Good evening, everybody. I'll call to order the town board meeting for June 12th.
Is this a workshop?
It's a workshop and town board meeting. If there's no objection from the board, I'd like to combine the workshop with the town board meeting.
It was noticed.
I hear no objection. I will ask our town clerk to call the roll. Oh, actually, no, first let me ask Deputy Supervisor Charles to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for
I'd
all.
like one moment of silence. Sadly, we recently lost another member of our Ramapo family, a longtime employee, Rick Lagarde, who was Director of Buildings and Grounds. He was with the town of Ramapo for about 32 years. He was also a active firefighter and a two-time fire chief of the Muncie Fire Department. We're all going to miss Rick, and it's still a shock that he's not going to be here anymore. So I'd like to have just a moment in his memory. Thank you, everybody.
His brother-in-law worked for us.
What?
His wife.
Oh, yes, good point. I just mentioned that not only was Rick a member of our town hall family, his wife Denise works for us, and his brother Lou, brother-in-law Lou works also as well for the town, for the highway department. Okay, we'll go start with public participation. Oh,
Yes.
So, thank you.
thank you.
If you do it slowly, another councilman. is
Oh, that's
wrong.
right.
Thank you.
Councilman Rossman. Councilwoman Deputy Supervisor Charles.
Here.
Councilman Wanunu. Councilman Weissmandel. Here. Supervisor Spector.
Here. Thank you, Mr. Sampson. Now, at this time, we'll start by opening up for public participation. Would anybody care to speak? Mr. Romanowski.
It's Robert Romanowski, 183 Maple Avenue, Muncie. At the May 8th meeting of this town board, you passed a resolution against granting parole for the killers of Paula Bohavetsky. A lot has changed since then. The New York State Parole Board has granted parole to one of her killers, Richard LaBarbera, and I would like the town board to continue on this further. I'm asking the board tonight, during new business, to pass a resolution condemning the decision of the New York State Parole Board in releasing this individual to walk on the streets again. I'm also asking this board to write a letter to Governor Andrew Cuomo and have all 5 town board members sign it, asking that he reverse this unconscionable decision by the New York State Parole Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romanowski. Anybody else from the public wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion to close public participation. Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded Deputy Supervisor Charles. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried 4-0. Our next item, we have the acceptance of the minutes for May 8th, 2019. I would just point out, I think it's a typo. It says under moment of silence, Supervisor Speck called for a moment of silence for Nathan O. Berman, O' Berman.
He converted at the last couple of days. That's 2 pints of Guinness, does it all the
I thought either
time.
that or I thought that was Alan Berman's ancestors from Dublin.
That is true.
So we'll just ask that that be corrected to reflect Mr. Oberman's proper name.
Everywhere within the minutes, actually, because I see it's there more than once.
Consistently.
It's
Okay.
also under Mr. Romanowski's comments.
Yes, that's right. So we'll ask that that be corrected. Other than that, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of May 8th with that correction. Anybody wish to make a motion to approve? Motion by Deputy Supervisor Charles, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Any opposed? Carries 4-0. And then the same for the minutes of the meeting held June 5th, 2019. Motion, Deputy Supervisor Charles, seconded, Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. I'll note that Mr. Oberman's name was spelled correctly in the resolution adjourning the meeting of May 5th, May 8th.
The pints of beer were gone by then.
We'll now move on to the town attorney agenda, A, settlement of certiorari.
If it pleases the board, we have two matters. The first one, it concerns a proposed resolution for settlement with regard to Caparo and Company. The town board is being asked to approve that. The total refund is $452.52. It's recommended by our office and the assessor.
Any questions for Mr. Lynch? Motion to approve? Councilman, Deputy Supervisor Charles, second Councilman Wanunu. Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Carries 4-0. We'll go to item 2.
The second one, 645 LLC, that's not ready tonight to be voted upon. We're still waiting data from the assessor's office, and we'll provide this resolution at the next meeting.
All right, so we'll pull that. We'll go on to item B, amendment of a prior resolution for settlement of the certiorari claim of Pomona Professional Condominium Association.
Yeah, previously, the board had looked at and voted upon and approved each of the individual units. Each unit at that time, I gave a refund amount, a very small amount. The actual resolution should be to approve it for the entire association. This just simply reaffirms it, restates it.
We did that, though.
Yeah, but this is now just for the Professional Condominium Association number 2. It's the entity that actually would be entitled to get.
Oh, I thought we had done two.
Yeah, no, this actually,
It's a correction of a,
it's on,
correct,
the last line is what needs to be corrected.
yeah.
Right. The last line is just resolved that those prior resolutions are rescinded. In other words, what we did before, and then we corrected it, we're just rescinding the first ones.
Very good. Any further questions for Mr. Lynch? If not, motion to approve by Deputy Supervisor Charles, seconded Councilman Wanunu. Discussion. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That carries 4-0. Go to item C, agreement with Valuation Plus regarding 86 Highview Road.
I believe this is one particular one. I'm not sure if our director
Yeah,
wants to
so
talk about that.
as was directed by the board, there are a few properties that we had asked to get valuations on, and this is approving the payment for this particular one.
Very good. Any questions from Ms. Montel? Is there a motion to approve? Motion Deputy Supervisor Charles, second?
How much is the bill? What do we,
3,000? Up to 3,000, right.
so what's the total, not to exceed 25,000?
That's the next one.
Yeah, that's,
Sorry,
yeah,
so am I
yeah.
out of order?
Yeah.
I'm on D.
And I think the supervisor's going to want to make an amendment on that.
C, 3C, Evaluation Plus, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 3D, you want to make
Evaluation, okay, yeah, I don't.
3,
D, you're going to want to make an adjustment.
yes, that's got to be fixed. So, I'm sorry, there was a motion, a second? Seconded Deputy Supervisor, it was seconded by Councilman Wanunu.
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Carried 4-0. Now we'll go to 3D, amendment of agreement with Farrick, Nugent, McCartney. As you know, there are Labor Relations Council for the Police Department. We had a prior resolution to, they bill us hourly, but to retain them for a fee not to exceed $25,000. They've sent us a letter that they're working on a number of items. They expect that the billing will go above that. They asked to raise it by $25,000 to a total of $50,000. What I would recommend is that if we do this, we raise it, we go up to another 15 instead of 25, up to 40, and we could always then, if need be, adjust accordingly down the road.
Does our insurance cover this?
No, these would be for dealing with grievances, dealing with disciplinary matters, not for liability issues.
Did we not have a provision for that before?
For
For the
what?
liability?
No, well, they don't deal with that. They deal with labor issues. They represent us at the Public Employees Relation Board. They represent us with grievances. They represent us in Article 78s brought by either current officers or ex-officers. So it's all
Overall,
personnel.
we're happy with them?
Yeah,
Excellent.
I've been happy. I
just
think they're
thought it
good.
was already in-
Brian Nugent is the attorney.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
appeared, at a number of meetings and explained various matters. Yeah.
So in this case, this is the one thing that they didn't represent us.
No, it's not that. It's that due to the volume of work, they're saying they believe that if we want them to keep representing us, their billing will wind up exceeding the $50,000 cap. They want to raise the cap.
So let's explain that the board is not necessarily aware on each and every item that they're handling for us. So your way of controlling the amount that's spent is to set the limit. So I think what the supervisor's saying is set the limit lower so that it has to come back
Before
to
us,
you.
yeah.
If the police or the attorney's office use them more than for an additional $15,000 as opposed to
And we have a
25.
budget for this as well, right?
Yes.
Right, it's in the police budget.
So we going over?
They're saying what you approved them for was 25,000.
Right.
Okay, that was what their contract was. They're claiming that they think they might need another 25,000 to take them through the end of December.
See,
And I think what the supervisor was
Compromise,
suggesting is
yeah.
Right.
approve it now for an additional 15,000 and then let them come back so that you have more control over what is being spent on this particular topic.
What do we budget for the year?
You don't specifically budget an amount for that. This goes through your consultant line, which has a substantial sum of money in it, because you don't know who you're going to be using in the attorney's office and the police. This particular one goes to the police.
Very good. Any
But
fur-
did,
oh,
just,
no,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
Did we, whoever decide, makes, I'll say Brian, because I'm not sure. Brian, his guesstimate is based on something that he thinks that we need to double
No.
it? Do we know what that something is?
No.
No, he's just saying that they're approaching the $25,000 amount that was voted on from January of 2019, and that they're asking for another $25,000. He outlines the number, some of the items he's working on for the town.
He's done really, really good work for us, and so has the.
The
firm.
police have been very happy
So
with him, the
I
police
don't
administration's
see
been
why
very happy with
Giving
him.
him 15, I mean,
Yeah, well, we're not giving the 15, we're allowing him to keep working up to the 40, and then he could always come back if.
You're
You're not
you're moving
giving-
the cap up. That's
Yeah,
what you're moving the
you're
cap
you're
up.
not giving him anything.
now, I don't mean giving him, let me retract that. The firm, if we're giving them 25,000, I didn't see that there was an issue, but if the 15 is a control of some type, then.
Yeah, it's just that once they reach 40,000, if we adopt the resolution as amended, once they get close to 40, if the year is not yet out and they're still working on matters, they'll have to come back and say, all right, we still need more. The billing will exceed that.
Right.
Hopefully it won't.
And just for the record, that is my former firm. I'm no longer involved with them, and I
Right.
have no interest in them whatsoever, so I want
Which
to
is
make
why
that
you were
clear.
sitting up there quiet. We all noticed that, Dennis.
Very good. Thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve as amended motion by Councilman Wanunu, second by Deputy Supervisor Charles. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the amended resolution?
It's with your number.
Right, with 40,000. Very good. And then, all in favor? 40?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. We'll just ask that the resolution be amended to reflect a cap of 40,000 instead of 50.
Okay.
Very good. Then we'll go on to item E, authorization to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the East Ramapo School District.
I can provide some background if
very
you
good.
like. Yes.
Thank you.
This is a situation where the town is basically asking to be able to utilize the district's high school for camp purposes. In return, the town has agreed, subject to your approval, that do some pothole repairs on a schedule that our highway superintendent has already set forth. We would ask the board to favorably consider that.
So, Mr. Supervisor, if you recall, you might not recall, but Councilman might recall, we had negotiated this a few years back, that it worked out positively for everybody, and so Michelle was going to be here, but had a conflict because camp meeting is tonight, and this works out well for everybody, and so we're going to ask you to approve it as it's listed here.
I just my own knowledge, the potholes that we repair, that would be, obviously that would be on, it says it right here. It's on driveways and parking lots of the school district.
Right.
Very good.
And are we paying for the gyms and stuff?
This is-
No, that was, that we
this is
get.
a change.
Barter.
Right,
Yeah.
it's a barter deal.
Oh, so-
It's shared, it goes under the concept of shared services.
This came apart, it came apart a few years ago when the governor started pushing.
How
municipal.
much do we think of labor and equipment and blacktop do we think it's gonna
It's,
cost
it's
us?
in there.
Yeah. We have a fee structure, $362.25
That's
per
what we think it's
hour.
gonna cost to do the work?
Each,
Or-
each time we,
Well, that's what they'll pay us.
the hourly rate.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna pay us that amount?
They will give us a credit. The district has a set fee for what they charge. right? But they don't charge that to us, but it's it is calculated out that it works as
Whatever
Right.
use.
We'll get a credit for whatever we
use,
do.
Whatever
Right.
amount of rooms and whatever use the town uses gets billed, and instead of it writing a check, we provide blacktop.
And the truth of the matter is, Mr. Supervisor, we should, at the next county intermunicipal service meeting, we should make sure that this is put into the plan for next year, because we will get reimbursed.
That's a good point.
Both the district
And
and the
the
town
town. You
for
will
some
both
of this shared expense.
Good, we should definitely bring it up.
Supposedly.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Right.
Very good, and if there's any, no further discussion, I'll call for a motion.
Well,
I'll recuse myself.
yeah.
Oh, and I think
And-
Councilman Weissman, you're going to recuse yourself too?
Yes.
So
Well, let the record reflect Mr. Councilman,
Weissman and
no,
Deputy
no,
Supervisor.
Councilman Rossman
Oh,
came
right,
in.
has entered, fortuitously entered.
That's what I do.
No, but for the public purpose of the vote.
So call for a,
Those in the audience that didn't notice.
Right.
Sneaking up.
Climbing up the side.
And does
We have a
Councilman
motion.
Wanunu have to say that he was on these
but
rounds?
no longer, so there's no conflict.
Well, after.
No, just joking. So there's a motion to approve by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by, why don't we briefly recap for Councilman Rossman's benefit?
Sure, so following the concept of the governor that we should do shared services, a few years back, the school district was going to charge the town for the use of rooms. They had a need to do some pothole or repaving work. We came up with an agreement where they wouldn't charge us for the rooms that we use for our camps, and we would do some work together with them. We also did it with gas at one point, I believe. And this is a follow-up where we're extending that option for this year. Two of the council people can't vote on it, and that leaves yourself, the supervisor, and Councilman Wanunu to approve this agreement. Does that satisfy the summary?
Okay,
Are you in a position to second the motion?
of course.
Very good. We have a second
I
discussion.
think I can do that.
Discussion on the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? And so 3 to approve with 2 abstentions. Very good. Then we'll go on now. Well, the next item is discussion regarding active environmental litigation. I think, Mr. Lynch, that should be an executive session, so you can
Correct.
give us legal advice.
I would ask at the end of the meeting, before we adjourn, we do executive
We'll
session.
put that at the end.
That's pending litigation.
Very good. Then we'll move on to personnel. I know Ms. Condon planned to be here, but I think the timing might have mixed her up. So, Ms. Montel, you're familiar, I know, with these items, so why don't we go through A?
So the first let me say that the item B is removed from the agenda.
Right. It's not ready.
Correct. But item A is simply establishing that regardless of who you put in those positions, whether it's current employees, future employees, or no employees, you have to be able to have the position within the right fund. Right now, all laborers are in the highway department or the parks department, so we're creating the placeholder for 3 labor positions within the correct department, not appointing anybody to them.
And just to clarify, these were budgeted for, these
Yes,
positions
they
in
were
the current
budgeted for,
budget.
but again, you're not appointing anybody to them
Right.
at this point.
Any questions from Ms. Montel about the proposed resolution? I'll call for a motion to approve. Motion, Councilman Wanunu, was that a motion? Or you're just nodding?
I second it.
Oh, no, I want to make sure that was a motion. Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried 5-0. We'll go on to item B, we're going to remove. Item C, if you could also enlighten us as well.
Certainly. So, according to civil service rules and regulations, an employee that's currently working for the town has the right to ask for what's called a desk audit, which is done by Rockland County personnel. And the employee and the town and the supervisor of that department, and I believe the supervisor, all give information as to what the specific job tasks that an individual does. The county then comes back and civil service, they come back and they say to us, okay, this position should be classified as X. And in this case, you're classifying the work of a current senior clerk typist position, and the work that she's doing, according to the county, is principal clerk typist work. So what you're going to do is you're going to reclassify that specific position from a senior clerk typist to the title of principal clerk typist in the planning and zoning department. This has
Why don't we
been,
have to relist the position?
what?
We're basically creating a new position.
You're switching the position
Why don't we have to advertise for that position?
because somebody currently fills the position. This is Pam Corey's title.
Got it.
So the county did an audit?
Correct.
Of her duties.
Do we get a copy of that audit?
We'd have
No
to ask
idea.
personnel. if they-
I don't think they give it to you. I think they come back and they give you a factual information. You've supplied the information, and then they come back and they say to you,
Probably some type of like summary, no?
yeah, and again, this started, I believe 2 years ago, that the process started to go in for this particular position. And it was finally approved, got all of its approvals. You budgeted for it this past year. You had anticipated that it was going to be approved this year, and when you did the budget, you added I think it's a 5% differential for that particular position. So the first resolution is simply reclassifying it. So you're not going to end up with an extra senior clerk typist there. You're going to end up with a principal clerk typist.
We're removing one senior clerk typist
Correct.
and adding a
I just, let's put this particular employee to the side for a second. Should a manager or the town be unhappy with the work that's going on with a particular employee? And this, I guess their job title would need to be reclassified by the county. Do we have a way of disputing or
6 months you have to, when a person gets their job first, you first hire them, you basically have 6 months to do an evaluation to see whether they've passed their provisional time that they were here.
and what about in a new role? Meaning here's a promotion in theory. Does that come with the probation? as
That
well?
question, I believe you'd have to ask to Ms. Condon. I could call her because she thought we were starting later, and I can ask her, but I don't think that in this
Wonder who
case.
told her that.
Because I got the information correct. It's not a promotion, it's a change of the title that she's using. So I don't think she has a probation. As a matter of fact, I'm sure of it. There's no probation. And the method of,
Not about her, I'm talking.
no, anybody,
Yeah.
forget about her. Let me get Linda on the phone, because I don't think there's anything wrong about doing that.
Sure.
And I can ask her if you don't mind. And in terms of who had input, the department head, the personnel, the supervisor, and one of her previous department head as well, would have had to fill out forms to make this happen, and the supervisor would have had to have signed it, I believe. Okay, she hasn't called me back yet.
All
I
right.
mean, hopefully she will, but what I can tell you is that if, what are the options? If you don't do it, then she could go to a hearing and compel the board to do it. But she's not looking to do that.
No.
This was always the thought when we went to allow her to get this upgrade.
Are there
As
any,
others have done that were doing different jobs.
are there any further questions, or somebody prepared to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
So seconded, motion by Deputy Supervisor Charles, seconded Councilman Rossman. Discussion on the motion. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Now we'll go on to item D.
So now, Mr. Supervisor, we're asking you, so it is provisional. It is provisional. This answers your
Oh,
question.
that's right. The resolution says
The
appoint
re-
provisional.
So she goes into a provisional appointment, and that will mean that I believe she has to, unless, she probably will get the waiver to take the test because she gets to do that once in
She hasn't used it yet.
your CSEA career. You're entitled to one bump up without taking a test. But I do believe you are provisional, as it says here, until the 6 months is up. The only thing that could happen within that 6-month period is she could be bumped back. She's entitled to a position of her old duties.
Very good. Any more questions about this? If not, call for a motion to approve. Yes. Motion, Councilman Rossman? No, this is the second. This is item 4D.
It goes from 78, 518 to
To
82.
appoint Pam Corey to the position of provisional principal clerk typist. Motion by Councilman Rossman, second, Deputy Supervisor Charles. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? One abstention. So it's 4 to approve with one abstention. And we congratulate Pam on the
And she did thank the board. She
did.
did have to go, she's getting on a plane right now to go visit her father who lives in
Her mother, I think she lost her father this year.
But she wanted to be there
She wanted to
for
be with her mother.
Father's
It's the
Day.
first Father's Day without her
Right,
father.
right.
But she did express her appreciation in advance. And we'll go on to item 4E, which is to appoint a permanent secretary to Yiddish speaking.
So you did appoint Sharon Asherovitz to the position previously of secretary to Yiddish speaking in the supervisor's office. She did have to take a test, and you are appointing her probationary permanent secretary to Yiddish speaking, and the salary remains the same.
Any questions?
Yes. Didn't she have this position already?
Yes, but you had to take the test, and now the time has come.
She's taken the test.
She took it already, she scored.
In Yiddish?
Yeah, she took the test. She did, yeah.
Hopefully.
But now Ms. Condon is here, so I don't have to stumble upon my words.
Take over, Ms.
So we
Condon.
did we're up to
We're almost
the
done.
last one.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Everybody thought it was later, you know.
I have.
Sorry about
We
that.
all did.
Normally it would be 7 on a Wednesday. We're sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So the question was, Mr. Rossman asked, didn't we already appoint Sharon Asherovitz to this position? And I was about to explain, but now she's taken the test and scored.
That's right, now she's permanent. She
Right.
had been provisional, and she had to take a written test. She had to be in the top 3, which she did. She did very well on her test, so now we can appoint her permanently.
So what does the probationary permanent mean?
That means, once you're appointed from a list, for the next 6 months, you're on probation.
Oh.
And that's for everyone that's non-police. For police, it's a 2-year probation.
So the prior resolution that we just did, this is the same theory hold true?
You're not on probation until you come from a list. So when you appoint someone provisional,
They don't start their
They
probation.
don't start their official probation, but they serve at your pleasure.
Oh.
So the thing is, the official probation starts after they're appointed from a list.
And in one case, if they took that non-whatever, where you don't take a test, there will still be a list produced or not?
Yes, for an NCTP&E, which means you don't take a test based upon your training and experience, the county will sometimes grant that, but you still are put on a list. You start your probation when the list comes, and it's the same 6 months.
So the person that you did just before this is probationary, is provisional, and has not yet gotten to the point where she starts her probation.
That's right. She's provisional until she takes the test, and then usually it takes 4 months between the time they take the test and the score comes out. And you have to be reachable, and then when you are, you're appointed permanent but probationary.
Can you, is the source of funds for the supervisor's office correct?
I don't know. I'll check.
I just want to,
Why don't we do the resolution subject to correcting the source of funds?
Yeah,
if it's
I just-
inaccurate?
This is for the laborer?
no,
No,
this is
no,
for
for the
the,
Yiddish-speaking secretary, too.
we
Oh, for
pull,
this-
is this super, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Let me just look.
I don't think 1220 is correct.
Either do I. Correct.
No,
Hang
I
on, I'll
think-
get it for you.
Thank you.
You're going to
You're
get it now, the
Yes,
actual?
I'll get it right now.
Perfect.
sorry. It might be you know.
Well, but before the meeting's over, I can go check.
Yeah, I have it here.
Okay, 12:20?
I'm looking right now, give me 1 second.
No, I think it's 13:55A. Oh, no. that's
12:28.
Oh, it is 12:28.
Yep, it's fine.
All right,
Yep.
then we could leave
It's
it.
the supervisor's budget.
Yeah.
Very good.
Sorry about that.
No, no problem.
Did you have any other questions, Supervisor?
No, I think we're good.
You have to vote on this.
You have to take the vote. I will make the resolution to appoint Sharon Asherowitz as provisional secretary to Yiddish speaking. Is there a second?
Yes.
Seconded by Councilman Rossman. Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Carries 5-0.
So let me just say, Ms. Condon, we did pull the item 4B for, as you recommended, and we did establish the 3 laborers for future use. And I explained to the board that regardless whether you put new laborers in there or current people we have, we need those positions within the correct department.
That's true, and there's no downside to creating them because it's not a must-fill.
Fill them as needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Very good. Then we'll go on to item 5, Parks and Recreation A, agreement with, I think it's meant to be Camp Ramapo, not Camp Ramaquios.
Right.
Parking at Palisades Credit Union Park.
As we've done in the past, and I believe we asked for an additional amount as requested, this allows the camp to use, to put the buses at the ballpark at certain times. This actually is an additional revenue source, which just recently we have been availing ourselves of. We did it effectively with Chestnut Ridge. We got revenue, unexpected revenue this year from that. The fee is listed here.
Any questions?
Could you explain to me, item C, 500 feet to the boulders, is that coming out of our 2,500? Or is that?
No,
They're gonna pay that.
during, that's an additional amount.
So we're getting 2,500 plus 500 deposit, okay, that's gonna go back. $500 fee to the boulders, so they're paying, basically their first check is $3,500?
Correct. Here, we'll just read the memo in the back to be sure you're
Yeah.
right.
That's what we're charging Blue Rail.
They'll also be paying $500 to the Boulders.
Right, cover the days that will be there for day games. I would imagine we could have them pay the Boulders directly.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, we have use of the parking lots for our purposes, and we get the money when the Boulders don't have games. The Boulders own the rights for everything for the days that they have their games.
Shouldn't this money be going to the RLDC?
We actually paid for the parking lot, so it was a question. The town actually paid for the bituminous, so you could do either one. But I believe in the past, we have done it, we can take the money in, and then you can allocate it to the RLDC.
Right, maybe that's something we talked about with the finance department,
Right.
about whether the money stays with the town or goes to the RLGC. We could figure that out. Very good. I'm sorry?
It's a large amount.
It's going to cost more to figure out where it goes than the actual amount.
I have a question. Do the buses have a particular place where they park?
Wherever we tell them.
That's good.
Good answer.
As a matter of fact, we asked somebody to allow, when we had opening day and a few major events, we did have to move the Chestnut Ridge buses
Yeah, that's
elsewhere.
right.
And it all worked out fine.
I'll call for a motion to approve. Motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Winonu. Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That carries 5-0. We'll go on to item 5B.
5B.
5B, approval of petty cash funds.
So, a few things, just, we had our A&M report with Nancy Zelke, and we we do this every year, but we are following very specific guidelines and procedures for cash management, cash flows, how we handle our draws, how we're handling different procedures this year. This is one additional step which we're following and documenting, which we do again every year. We have to start Saddle River Pool, Spook Rock Pool, and the summer camps with a certain amount of literal cash for them to be able to operate. The cash goes to them, and then it comes back to us at the end of the season. They'll return it. In between, there is a daily procedure as to what happens with the counting of this cash and all other cash. We'll go into that in detail in the near future.
Any questions from Ms. Montalvo about this item? If not, I'll
Yeah,
call.
like, how much money is like in Spook Rock Pool? We're not giving the $500 at once, right?
Yeah, we give them $500 to open the bank.
Start up, right.
Yeah,
So
but is
the,
the money at the pool?
No, the money is in a locked box wherever Michelle Antosca designates it to be.
So
The
Michelle's
chief,
one that uses it.
actually, the chief, well, her staff, the chief actually is going around and doing this, having a security check on all of our buildings in general, and has made very specific recommendations, as has Nancy Zelke, in reference to a variety of our facilities, including our pools and our camps. So, you've always done this resolution, and all I'm suggesting or stating to you is, in addition to that, we're going to come back to you with a variety of processes and procedures that we're going to be documenting moving forward for all cash coming in, not cash, I don't mean cash, checks, cash, credit cards coming into the town.
any further questions? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the resolution. Motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded Deputy Supervisor Charles. Discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? Carries 5-0. We'll go to item 6A, Town Clerk changes the Town Board meeting schedule.
I just think this is wrong.
What's wrong?
I think it's different from what you and I
Yeah.
discussed, actually.
You're talking about,
Schedule change?
well,
They both say the 24th,
we talked about,
canceling the 26th actual meeting
yes, it should be canceling the meeting
of,
scheduled for the 20. Well, let me explain to the
Well, one
board
second.
first.
Wait,
Let me
we're
explain,
scheduling a
yeah,
special meeting for the, oh, it's just the reverse.
yeah.
I don't know yet, one second, I don't know that it's either, because you do have a public, yeah, so it's different. There is a public hearing
Right.
on the
There's a public hearing on the
26th,
26th, which we're leaving alone.
yes.
And
But
continue with the public hearing, that's a regular town board meeting.
Well, that's the problem.
question is, can we have a public hearing without a town board meeting?
It's a regular meeting.
But the supervisor's not gonna be here, so he wanted
still
the
a regular
regular
meeting.
meeting, so it could be an extra meeting?
It's a regular meeting, whether he's here or not.
No, he wants
No,
to
no,
be here
no,
for the regular
for the
meeting
meeting.
on the 24th.
I'm asking if we can, if the board would agree, move the meeting from the 26th to the 24th, with the understanding we would still have to keep the public hearing on the 26th, because that's been noticed for that date.
He'd like to conduct business on the 24th.
Fourth.
All other
If the
business
board
in the
is-
town.
Which is why
Agreeable.
you're scheduling a special meeting on the 24th.
No, that's fine, but we're not, but it doesn't say that we're canceling the meeting to be held on the 26th.
Or you're not going.
Oh, we're not, I
You're not
see, I
canceling.
understand.
You're not
this,
canceling
yes.
anything.
We're keeping that meeting, but the only thing
All
on
you're
that
doing is
agenda
establishing a
will be the
special
public
meeting.
hearing.
Right.
That is why you are the town clerk.
What's the 24th, Monday?
What?
24th is Tuesday?
Monday.
Monday.
No, we're gonna have the
We would
meet-
have the workshop anyhow.
Right, so you're gonna have your meeting workshop
I'll just
on
disclose, the
Monday.
26th, I realized is my, at the same time of our meeting, is the time and date of my daughter's high school graduation, so I would like to attend that.
You hold the meeting there?
You could, wouldn't
I'm
help.
sure.
We've done that before, but not at a ceremony.
And I think that have some
So you don't have
timing
to
issues.
cancel, the first
Surprise
time
me,
you're
speak.
canceling, you don't have to
No,
cancel, do you?
We don't
just
have to
cheering.
cancel anything.
So that's
Oh,
why I
wait, I'm
said.
sorry, wait. The workshop on the 24th.
We're not canceling them.
We're turning that into a meeting.
A meeting workshop.
Right.
You couldn't have the
I'm sorry,
workshop
wait,
at
please.
5:30.
Wait, let's read it. The workshop on the 24th is going from 5:30 to 6 o'clock.
But it doesn't have to, it could stay at 5:30.
We can keep it at 5:30.
Yeah.
And then do the meeting after.
We're only doing what you said.
Yeah, so just keep it at 5:30.
Yes.
And then move, and then just do the meeting following.
So we don't need to cancel the workshop.
So, wait a minute, you want to change what you asked us to do to what?
We'll keep the workshop at 5:30, the time it's already scheduled for. And we will add a special meeting at
5:30.
5:30.
5:30
Yeah,
for Monday, June 24th.
correct. So all you need to get rid of is the workshop Monday, the second one.
You don't need to cancel the workshop
Right.
for Monday, and you change the time of the special meeting to 5:30 instead of 7. And the public hearing remains
stays the way it is.
for the 26th.
Correct.
What time is the public hearing?
7.
It's a very short, it should be very short. It's
Yeah.
just the
We already
exemption.
canceled one
It
of the
was
two.
for
This is on the veterans
the
exemption.
Veterans exemption. We don't anticipate being more than 10 minutes.
So Monday you'll be at 5:30,
Yes,
no special meeting at 7?
no. It'll be meeting workshop meeting at 5:30.
And then 7 o'clock on Wednesday for what should be a 10-minute public hearing.
Is it gonna be a long meeting on Monday, you don't know?
Don't anticipate it. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call for
Well,
a
let me
motion.
make sure I have it.
Please.
Right. So you're leaving the workshop that's regularly scheduled for June 24th at 5:30. You want to reschedule the special town board meeting for 6 o'clock?
No,
Or schedule the special meeting for 6 o'clock?
No, for 5:30.
Both at 5:30?
Coterminous with the workshop.
Okay.
and I don't think we have one posted
Have
yet,
what?
do we?
What?
In other words, we don't have one currently scheduled.
Have
Special.
one what scheduled? Special meeting?
Right.
No, the special meeting was just to establish a meeting to go with the workshop.
Right.
And leave the regular meeting intact for the
Yep.
public hearing. So we're leaving the regular meeting intact for the public hearing at 7 o'clock on the 26th. We're not
Very good.
touching that.
Right.
Very
So
good.
the only thing you want to do is schedule a special meeting for 5:30.
Should mention in the notice that the supervisor won't be here.
5:30, which, you know, all it
Some
does
people that
is
he's not
suspend,
gonna
well, now you're canceling the town board meeting for 7 and making it 5:30.
Everything's gonna be at 5:30.
Well, we're not
You're
canceling
scheduling it.
a scheduled
I think
meeting.
the only
It's not
thing
a
that we're,
canceled schedule.
Right.
correct me if
I
I'm
think we're
wrong.
complicating.
We overcomplicated
I think
this.
the only,
Unnecessary.
Why don't we start with a whole new
Everything
resolution?
stays-
Right.
Everything stays the way it is.
But,
The only thing we're adding is we're adding a special meeting at 5:30 on Monday.
That's correct.
that's the motion. That's the resolution.
Everything else stays the way it is.
it doesn't, everything else that exists out there.
Stays the
not
way it
resolution.
was.
The
Correct.
resolution should only reflect the scheduling of a
special
special
meeting
meeting
to
at
be held-
5:30 on the 24th.
And the
Thank you.
supervisor's
The
absence. on
workshop.
Yes.
That'll be on the next
And
meeting.
I'd like to express my appreciation to the board for accommodating this request.
And we would like to express you
I'm
congratulations
expressing it in advance.
on your daughter's graduation.
Thank you.
And her acceptance to
Cornell
Cornell
University.
University.
Thank you, thank you. Thank
Now
you
that I
all
embarrassed her, tell her
very
to
much.
please forgive me, Karen,
Lu-
sorry.
Luckily, she doesn't watch our meetings on TV, so. But thank you, everybody. Very good, so I'll call for a motion now for that resolution. Motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded Deputy Secretary Charles, discussion, all in favor? Anyone opposed? And again, thank you all. And now we'll go to new business. Is there any request to new business? We did have a,
Yeah, executive session.
yeah, we have an executive session. Ms. Montel, you look like you had a suggestion.
No, I think the one we said it was going to be in.
We'll do that in executive
Yeah.
session.
It made it onto the
There
agenda.
was a suggestion during public participation about a resolution regarding the parole of one of the murderers of Paula Bohevsky. I think the parole board has not yet considered the second murderer defendant's application. I would certainly join in a motion to reiterate our sympathy for the family and our desire that the parole board not release either of the two convicted people who I believe have not shown any remorse in this matter. We could either, if other people would like to join in, we could do the motion now, or the other option is we have a police meeting next, commission meeting next Thursday. That will give us time to do a written resolution in advance, and it would probably be appropriate to adopt that at a police commission meeting as well. Wednesday, I'm sorry, thank you, the 19th. So what is the board's preference?
Change from the Thursday to Wednesday.
Mr.
We could do
Supervisor, let
that.
me just ask you a question.
Sure.
I think the supervisors meeting, which is tomorrow, also would like to do a if I'm not mistaken, I think there was some discussion to do a joint.
We could. I know we originally did the resolution because the supervisors meeting, we did come up with an idea of a shared resolution, so that's something we could discuss tomorrow. Maybe we could circulate another joint resolution reflecting the developments that have taken place.
This way, we're not doing it.
That's appropriate. So I would think that that's a good idea. So I think the idea of the resolution is a good one. I think the timing would be better for next week with that in mind. Very good. Anybody else have any new business?
Hi, yeah, I was hoping you started at 7. I called up the town of Ramapo, I was hoping you started at 7, and do we open for like 7 o'clock?
Oh, apologize, the meeting was on for 6. It was on the notice for 6.
Town of Ramapo.
I'm sorry?
I got it straight from the town, so I called the town at about 4:15 today, and it said so.
I understand. Again, we apologize. That was a miscommunication. The meeting did begin at 7. Is there something that you, 6, I'm sorry. Is there a particular topic that you wanted to address?
Yes, actually, there was, that's why I came. I just wanted to mention that on the, my name is Shifra Orlean.
Well, why don't you come to the mic?
Well, let me do this first. Let's do this the right way.
Yeah.
In light of the fact that there was a miscommunication as to the time of the meeting, I'm going to ask that we reopen public participation. Anybody wish to, I'll make the motion, Deputy Supervisor Charles has seconded it. All in favor? Any opposed? We're going to reopen public participation. Thank you. And again, apologize for the inconvenience.
Are you related to Haya?
Yeah.
So tell her Mona says hi.
Who says that?
Mona.
Okay. My name is Shifra Orlean, and I live at 2 Pleasant Ridge Road. I just came to let you know of concern I had regarding the traffic, when traffic is disrupted somewhat because of the construction going on in Blueberry Hill. I am, a supporter of growth, but I did feel that whoever was, controlling the traffic pattern today was not doing a very efficient job at all. When I traveled south on 306 this morning, it looked like it was being set up. It was really only the southbound traffic was getting through, and nobody was really controlling the traffic, but I thought that they were setting up. But on my way home at 4 o'clock, the northbound lane was not moving. Only the southbound lane was moving. It looked as if whoever was directing the traffic really needed to be in service as to equal time for both lanes.
What was this for? I'm sorry.
This was near the construction. I think the construction, I understand it's going to disrupt the lives.
It wasn't that construction.
It wasn't.
It was United Water did work at the corner of Calvert and 306.
So
And
that's
she
a
happens to be 100% correct.
Right. So we
I
complain
sat
about
in
that
that
all the
traffic
time.
today.
It was
was a
absolutely
real mess.
horrible. I
So just
finally
so you
escaped on
know,
Blauvelt.
We wish so Route 306, I believe, is a
State
road.
highway.
Right.
So we have very little control over what happens there. We will speak to our highway superintendent, but I don't think he has any control. does
No,
he?
if it was Suez, they would have applied for a permit to the state, and we'd have no,
But we-
Okay, I had assumed it was construction because this morning it was definitely the construction that had blocked one road, maybe one side.
It was construction. I'm just mentioning that it happened not to have been the specific site you're mentioning.
Pardon?
I'm just mentioning that it wasn't that specific site.
Oh, okay. I mean, like I
Just for the
said,
point of
I'm all for
clarification.
growth. It's just that I just want to make sure the traffic is done equal time for both lanes.
We do have a traffic committee here at the town, and we meet regularly, and one of the things we're looking at very seriously is process and protocols to alleviate some of that mess that actually was on 306 today. It was pretty awful.
Maybe you could put into, give us a little summary of what happened, when it happened, whatever you can remember, send it to the supervisor's office, and Councilman Weissman chairs the traffic committee. We meet almost every Friday, and we do take seriously. We actually were at the state DOT
Yeah, this
just
week.
yesterday,
And
the
2
week
weeks ago.
before, 2 weeks before, and we're going back to talk to them about how we can help in these situations.
even though it's a state road, we're trying to get them to address some of these issues, or let us address these issues if possible. So it's, a matter of dealing with the
Who was controlling the
state.
traffic?
I was so far back, I couldn't even see.
Okay,
So what
Councilman knows.
happens is, she's right about the northbound side. They're working on the intersection of Calvin and 306.
Okay,
One of our favorite spots,
Yes.
Cedar and Ralph, corner of 306,
yes.
was locked.
Oh,
Because,
didn't we have a traffic study today there?
no, we did Blauvelt and
Oh.
West Maple.
Okay.
That was locked
Oh, my
because
gosh.
the cars couldn't, it was backing up, and there was nowhere to go. So the northbound traffic was totally on lockdown because cars were waiting to turn left.
And you had a very big
And right.
funeral today also.
Yes.
That probably also.
Today, that was further
They
than.
went that
No,
way.
they went to
No,
Brick
today,
Church.
they went to
Yeah,
Brick
that went
Church.
after 6, that's correct.
Unfortunately, the town lost a very dedicated employee and who was a firefighter for over 40 years, probably.
Yeah.
Chief of
He's the
Muncie
chief.
Fire.
Yeah.
And the
Wow.
procession actually
Went down
that way,
road,
so
yeah.
that could have also added to that.
That would have been,
But we take it very
This morning.
seriously, and we'll,
Okay, well, I mean, clearly I'm here, so.
you are frustrated.
It just, I just wanted, on behalf of all the people of the town of Ramapo, I just wanted to say I'm sure that I'm not the only one that, felt that way. I just wanted to share it.
well, thank you for taking the time to
All
come
right,
in.
you
Well, I will
That was
share
great.
that her mother-in-law was my guidance counselor in college and was the best thing since sliced bread. And I don't think I would
And
have
she
made
still
it.
is.
I don't think I would have made it through university unless it was, and you please tell her that Mona says hello.
Mona- Very good, Mona what?
Ms.
Montel.
Olean, can I have your address again, please?
Sure, it's 2 Pleasant Ridge Road.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Be well.
Anybody else?
Drive safely and traffic-free home.
Yes. Anybody else wish to speak? Then I'll call for, seeing nobody, I'll call for a motion to close. Again, public participation. Motion Deputy Supervisor Charles, second Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried 5-0. And then we'll go, at this point, I'll call for a motion to go into an executive session so our attorney could advise us about a litigation matter. Pending litigation matter. I'll ask that the town clerk, the chief of staff, remain in the room. I don't believe we're going to be conducting any business after executive session. I don't anticipate any.
Yeah, you're just going to close in honor of all the graduates.
Right. So is there a motion to go into executive session? Motion, Councilman Russman, second, Councilman Nunu. All in favor? Any opposed? We will now be in executive session to discuss pending litigation.
Remember, I had to shut it off.
Okay, we're back on the record. We're ready. We're out of executive session now. I
There it
think
goes.
this time we have no further business, so I'll call for a motion to adjourn. What I'd like to do is adjourn in memory of Rick Lagarde, who we lost last week, longtime town employee, and in honor of the current high school graduates throughout the county, throughout the town. Motion by Councilman Rossman, second Deputy Supervisor Charles. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. We stand adjourned. Oh, it was Councilman Rossman moved?
Rossman, Charles.
And Deputy Supervisor. Very good. Then we now are adjourned. Good night, everybody.